Hi everyone. Today I am doing this pre-recorded now. We've tried to do these live and we've had all sorts of problems streaming to everywhere. So I'm recording this interview with my Spotlight member from my Visibly You membership this month, Avril Magee. So welcome, Avril. Thank you for doing this. And the point of these interviews is to get to know Avril a bit better and hear about what she's all about. I find it really useful to find out more as well, and I wanted to share that with everyone who's watching so that you can find out how Avril might be able to help you or learn some tips and advice from Avril. So thank you, Avril, for being here. And as I always say, I'm really interested in the journey that we've all been on to kind of get to where we are now. It's really fascinating that we've never just gotten out of bed one morning and thought, I'm going to do this. There's things that's led us there. So I'd like to know a little bit more about how you help people, what you do, and how you came to be doing that work.
People. Property development, which I do with my husband, and I'm also a utility warehouse partner. So there's two bits to it really. And in terms of how I help people, it's basically with the property development business, we are taking older buildings that are in a pretty poor condition and turning them into desirable homes for people to live in. So we know there's a housing shortage at the minute. For people that can't yet afford to buy their own homes, we offer high quality standard rental properties. Um, and in terms of the utility warehouse business, basically I help people to save money. I Utility warehouse offers a range of packages to people to help them with utility bills, phone bills, broadband, and home insurance. And basically, the more things you package together, the bigger the savings that you can make. But in addition to that, it also offers people, so for instance, and I'll talk about my journey in a minute, but at one point, I wish I'd have known about utility warehouse earlier because I was in a job, I wasn't enjoying it. I wanted to leave, but got to earn the money to pay the mortgage came in. And if I'd have known about this, because it's something you can really do as a side hustle alongside your current job, or if you have children or you're caring for older people, then it's something you can start off small and build. But basically, it allows you to build your own business and earn additional income yourself as well. So, like I said, to go back to how did you get here?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a twisty path. So, I started off, my career was in the probation service, and I started off in that while I was still a student working as a volunteer. Really off the cuff remark from a fellow student who was about to go off to Germany for a year to do her 1 year living there to learn the language better. And I just happened to ask her what she would miss. And she told me that she would really miss working as a volunteer in this drop-in centre run by the probation service. So we had a conversation and I ended up taking her place on that. I was actually doing a law degree at the time and had always thought that I would go on to be a solicitor or a barrister, but I so enjoyed the time at this drop-in centre, and I was given the task at the centre of helping people to cook and budget And that was amazing because when I'd left home a couple of years earlier, I couldn't even cook a spaghetti bolognese for myself. So then teaching other people, but I'd had to learn. And so my level of cooking at that time was probably similar to the facilities and the budget that they had as well. So I started off doing that. That led to applying for a job in the probation service and getting qualified. And 30 odd years later, I finally left. I finally left. Sorry, I'm just panicking there. My husband was about to walk into the room during this live interview. So I spent 30 odd years. I worked in prisons, I worked in courts, I worked in the community teams, I worked doing community payback, doing all sorts of different levels. Got to the point where I still enjoyed the job, but I wasn't enjoying the atmosphere, the office politics. We were privatised, or half the probation service was cut in two by the government in 2014, and the half I was in was privatised, and it changed the whole culture. And the office politics changed, and just wasn't enjoying it. So I left and took my skills and applied them, went to DWP, Department of Work and Pensions, and there by that time I'd got to be a manager, managerial level. So I was managing a nationwide employment program to help people with a disability into employment, which is quite interesting because you're now hearing that being talked about again. And I'm sort of, well, what happened to all the work we do? But anyway, that's a side issue. So I worked helping offenders to resettle and not reoffend. I helped communities to be safer by managing the offenders, and if they were going off course, bringing them back to face other penalties, which could mean recalling them to prison. I helped people with disabilities into employment. And then my last bit of paid employment was working for the General Medical Council in their investigation team, investigating complaints that were made about doctors, whether that was GPs or doctors working in hospitals, which was really interesting. But I decided to leave because anyone that knows me knows that my digital skills are not the highest, and I haven't, from the investigation point of view, I didn't have a problem because I've been used to that sort of thing from my work in the probation service. But from the digital side, where you were having to put bundles of documents together and redact them, and it just blew my mind basically. So I decided not to, and I'd decided, well, I'd pull on my pension and see what. I didn't really know what I was going to do. And my husband happened to mention to me he'd got two houses by then, I think, that he'd bought and was renting out. And he said, "Oh, why don't we buy one together?" And it was, "Oh, all right then." And went along knowing absolutely nothing compared to what I know now. And we became landlords and had a business. So we started off developing our own properties as landlords. And then we realised that with the, what was it? Can't get the words. The cost of living increases and everything.
Yeah.
The money that we were making was going down and down and down, and I think landlords are not a very popular group with the government, so there was a lot of additional regulation coming in, which I think is quite appropriate because it's helping to keep the standards high in for people that rent properties. But it meant that the profits weren't as high, and we needed a little bit more money to pay the bills and live on. So we looked into going into the development side, and we did some training about that. And now, for the past 18 months, we've had our own business, and we've currently got a project on the go at the moment. So yeah, very convoluted journey, really.
And yet it feels like there is a kind of theme there to what you're providing for people in terms of helping people kind of get on their feet, or people who, as you said earlier, might not be able to afford to buy a property, but giving people that stability, because it's the basics, isn't it? Having a decent place to live, and it's so important. And obviously your standards are very high. You're not just kind of turning stuff around and throwing it out there and not caring about the people that are going to be living in it.
Funnily enough, I had a bit of a strange experience yesterday. I'd been at a networking meeting in Chester, and one of the houses that we've got is in Chester. So I parked the car outside the house and walked into town to the meeting and walked back again. And as I got back to my car, someone just got out of the car behind me, and she was heading, and it looked like she was heading into the house. And we've just had a change of tenants, and we use a letting agent. And we've only done that since we took on the development side. Previously, I knew all our tenants, face to face. But she was walking into the house, and I said to her, "You're going to think I'm really strange, but can I ask you a question?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Do you live in this house?" And she said, "Yes, why?" And I said, "Oh, because I'm your landlord." And we got talking, and it's the tenants in there are a group of junior doctors. And as soon as I said I was the landlord, she said, "We love this house. This is such a lovely house. We have all been so pleased that we've moved in here. We've lived in lots of other student accommodation and rented houses as we've been training, and this is by far the best." And it was just nice, because when you use a letting agent, you don't get that personal feedback in the same way.
No.
And she was she invited me to go in and have a cup of tea with her. I knew I was going to hit the traffic heading home, so I declined. But really, it's one thing to say that you do it high quality, but when you're getting that direct feedback from the people that are living there, it was unsolicited. I didn't sort of go and say, "Oh, can you complete my survey?"
That's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, because most people, I know when I used to live in rented, if I actually met the landlord, I'd have been like, "Right, well, you need to do this and this, and why haven't you done this?" And obviously you're on top of it all. That's amazing. So I was just wondering, kind of, obviously you made quite a life-changing decision to go for this new career path. What would your advice be for people who are considering perhaps going into property themselves, or making a change in their career?
One, I'm so happy doing what I'm doing now. That doesn't mean there's not ups and downs along the way, but I'm so happy. I just wish I'd done this years ago. I really do. And so for anyone who's thinking about it, and shouldn't I, because what I'd been brought up with was you need a steady job, you need a steady income, you've got to keep the roof over your head. I was a single parent with two teenage children. I basically daren't leave my job and not know what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. But actually, if you are interested in doing that, put yourself out there, find a networking group that speaks to either what you're doing or being a small business owner. You may be able to start doing it and drop your main job down a day or two so that you're not throwing your income away totally. But I think it's like anything that I've learned about being a business owner. Don't overthink it necessarily. If it feels right, take action and do it, because you'll start to meet the people that are the right people that can help you, support you, offer you advice along the way. Whereas if you're still working full time and you're just sitting there thinking, oh, I'd like to do this, but I don't know how, you're not picking up that extra information that you really need. And I think that's the other thing, educate yourself. And you can do that by going to networking events. There's lots of things online now that will sort of teach you, webinars that people do that you could join in. There's social media activities and groups, and you can learn from what others are talking about. And there's books, old-fashioned books, that can also help. Because I've never had a business background, so regardless of the type of business, part of it is also about learning how to have your own business and all the things that go alongside that. I'd never heard of shareholder agreements or anything like that before. So it's the two things. It's about your genre, if you like, and your sector that you're going to be working in, but it's also about how to be a business owner and the sort of things you need to do and think about.
Amazing. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I didn't ever consider growing up or in my kind of early career that I could run my own business. It just wasn't really discussed as an option. Even now in schools, I don't think it's really talked about enough. And but actually, if you're unhappy in what you're doing, there is, it is possible. And yeah, you can either go for it in one go, or just start gradually and find out more. And and I work with so many people that have done that, and it is amazing because you do have then, it's hard work, but you can then build the life that you want to in your own way. You're not kind of accountable to other people. So yeah, absolutely amazing, and it's great to hear that you're so happy in it as well. So I wanted to find out a little bit more. You're in my Visibly You membership, and I just wanted to know a little bit more about kind of why you joined, what you want to achieve by being a member, and if it's helping, because for the people to know if you find it's helpful. Mm-hmm.
When you were the speaker,
Yeah.
all the contact I'd had with other people were very much talking about, oh, you need to put yourself out on social media, you need to do this, that, and the other, and create your funnel, and all things like that. And as I've said, the digital world is not my baby in that sense. I have done it and I've put the posts out, but it's not what I feel very comfortable doing. And it was hearing you talk, Sarah, where you were saying there's other things, there's the face-to-face meetings, the networking, the speaking at events, the blogging, the newsletters, talking to journalists, all those things that I hadn't really thought about. I was doing the networking, but I hadn't thought about any of the others. And they just felt, yes, they're things that I do think I could do. Have I done them yet? Some of them. So, but you're asking, has it helped? Well, one of the things that has really helped, I've just done my first blog, and that was after you invited Bex Stafferton to come and
Mhm.
talk to the group and give her advice about how to write a successful blog. And I followed what she said, and my first blog is now up on my website. I need to
Amazing.
change it. It's probably been up there a few weeks now, and I probably need to review it. But things like that, it was just opening up opportunities.
Mm.
Similarly, I haven't done any public speaking yet, but again, you had, I've forgotten, Catherine, was it?
Catherine
Catherine,
Sandland, yeah.
yeah, about public speaking. And I couldn't actually make that session live, but I watched it back afterwards. And
Mhm.
that's what I also really like about your group is that things get recorded and you can't always make um, every session, but you can catch up. And I found the hints, the tips. We've been on online networking this morning and
Mhm.
again got some really useful tips from other members of the group. There's other members of the group. Uh, I'll give a name check to Helen Greenwood, who's got the Canva group. I've joined that to try and help me with the social media side.
Mm.
So, yes, it's been really helpful. And just making myself, oh, sorry, not making myself, but you giving people prompts and questions and doing your challenge where you really took us back and made us think, why are we doing this? What's our purpose? What are we aiming to achieve? What's the best way that we can do that? Fabulous. It really
Oh,
has helped me because I
amazing.
might, again, people may have seen me talk a lot the last few weeks doing the spotlight videos, but actually, by nature, I'm quite shy, quite introverted, and I don't sort of easily get out there. So there's still some hurdles to over that I've got to overcome, but I know sort of over time the group will help me with that.
Amazing. Oh, yeah, and that's it. You are, you've already done so much. You're putting yourself forward for things. You're going for it. You're thinking about how you can do public speaking, that kind of thing. So we also kind of wanted to know, and thank you for all that lovely feedback, by the way. That's really, really lovely to hear. And you're a brilliant member. It's brilliant having you in. But I wanted to know, you know, when you think about things like public speaking and getting your message out there, what is the key message that you would like the world to hear, to know about?
Maybe
Mm.
what I think I would like to say, I think that anecdote about the tenants sort of shows it a bit, is that working right from the beginning, working from the probation service and all the way through, and even my children would sort of say, "Oh yeah, mum," because my values are so important to me. They
Mm.
are how I define myself as a person, and it might sound a bit of a cliche. It is things like honesty and integrity, it's consistency, not doing this 1 minute and that the next.
Mm-hmm.
It's a commitment, really,
Mm-hmm.
and transparency. And that's who I am as a person.
Yeah.
And as I said about the tenants and offering high quality places, desirable places to live,
Yeah.
it's that, I wouldn't have wanted my own children to live in sort of slum type places when they
Absolutely.
went off to university. So why would I expect other people's, or when they first started work and
Yeah.
before they could own their own properties? Why, if I didn't want it for me, I didn't want it for my children, why should I expect it to be okay for other people? And that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that the high quality means necessarily expensive. You
Mm.
can develop a house using cheaper materials, but do it in a high quality way in terms of how it's maintained, how it looks,
Yeah.
um, how you respond, like you said, when you were a student, how you respond when there are problems, and
Yeah.
what you do. The number of our tenants that have said, "Oh, we used to complain to the landlord," and they'd
Yeah.
say, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and never do anything about it.
Yeah.
Um, and similarly with the utility warehouse business, I don't want to be out there pushing and forcing someone, "Oh, you must take this
No.
product on, da, 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 da."
Yeah.
I am offering an opportunity. It's
Mm.
for you to decide whether or not it's the right opportunity for you. I will tell you what I think the benefits are, but you have to make your own mind up about that. And
Yeah.
that's the way I would rather do it. I'm not big, like I say, I've never done marketing or sales, but if someone comes to me and they're pushy,
Yeah.
it's an immediate, I stop hearing what they're talking about and I
Mm.
just want to
Mm.
get away, basically.
Yes,
So
that's
I
so
don't
true.
want to be that person. I want to
No.
do my business in a way that fits with my values and
Yes,
encourages
absolutely.
other people that like those values and respect those values to come and work with me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Yeah, and because I think property developers probably do have a bit of a bad name generally, don't they?
Mm.
And but yeah, to hear that you are, you're doing it in such a values led way is really powerful and so needed. And yeah, there's, because you are really really helping the people that get into your lucky enough to get into your properties. I love that. So just my last question, I just wanted to know a bit more about. I mean, you talked about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. I'd love to know what are the next things, what are the next steps for you? What have you got coming up? Your exciting plans?
One is I'd like the world to change and there be more than 24 hours in every day, because then I might get them all done. But no, I think in terms of our property business, we would like to work with investors and look at the social housing opportunities, because again, you hear there is a real shortage of housing of a decent level for people that can't and won't ever be able to afford their own house. So
Mm.
that's definitely one area that we want to go down. But we also want to work with investors that sort of they work with us and they'll get a better rate of return by investing in the property than they would if they had their money sitting in a bank account.
Mm.
But we would like to develop again, it goes back to my values really, develop those relationships so that they're long-term relationships. So it's a win-win on both sides at the end of each project, and we can carry on and work together
Amazing.
and do it again because it was good we worked together well, we shared information, and that was successful.
Fantastic.
So that's really, it's not just looking for people with money, it's looking for people with money that share the values and would
Mm,
like to be engaged in a longer term relationship with us as property developers.
mhm,
So that's one thing. I would like my utility warehouse business is only a few months old, so I really would like to get that and scale up with that.
mhm. Yeah.
So and I've found at the moment I'm sort of struggling a little bit with when I meet people, what do I focus on? The property development or the
Mm,
utility warehouse business? And there is a link because it's helping
def-
people save money on their bills. So if we
mm,
develop a property and sell it to someone, we could offer that in as
yeah,
part of the
definitely.
package of selling. Um, but I don't know. It's trying to look at how I can scale that business
Mm,
up more successfully. Um, I think also I was on a workshop, a weekend workshop back in May, no, July, anyway, doesn't matter when. The thing is, I hadn't realised until two people at this workshop said to me, we were talking about anything and everything. It was a social conversation. And they
mm,
said to me, you should be a mentor. Now,
mm,
at the moment, I'm sort of okay, not now. I need to build the businesses I'm doing up, but it's sort of planted a bit of a seed, and
mm,
it fits with writing an ebook
mm,
that will give maybe people that are sitting there thinking, shouldn't I go into property, and just from a very beginner's point of view,
mm.
um, helping them to sort of just collate their thoughts together and help them to decide where they want to go. So
Amazing.
that's something that I've got planned. I've also got a podcast interview lined up that I would have run away from. But again, part of being in the group, the difficulty is that I'm waiting for the interviewer to come up to Manchester to get a
Mm,
studio up here to do it, and she lives
right.
way down in the southwest. But so it's sort of been put back a little bit, but hopefully that will happen.
Mm,
And yes, that mentoring seed. Do I
interesting.
do something with it or not? So
Wow,
yeah,
exciting. Loads, and you've obviously got so much to offer. So, if people are watching this and they would like to know more either about utility warehouse work or your, they're looking to invest in property or they're looking for some advice from you, what's the best way for them to get in touch? Obviously, we can share your links and things, but um,
yeah. My details through this group
mhm.
message conversation
Amazing.
would be lovely.
Brilliant.
I'd love to hear from people. So yeah,
Fantastic. Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing so much with us and being so honest about your story. And it sounds amazing. I think it's really kind of when I speak to people like you, it kind of changes my perspective a bit around what's involved and the kind of people that are investing in properties and knowing that there are good landlords out there. It
yeah,
definitely
yeah. You
definitely
wouldn't know
helps.
it if you read the media, but actually,
Well, this is it, isn't it?
in
Yeah,
some
yeah.
of the network, there was just to throw this in,
Mm.
there was a survey done, and this isn't going to be very valuable because I can't remember who by, but um, talking to tenants, I think it was the National Residential Landlords Association actually, talking to tenants, about 80% said they were really happy with their landlords and had no problems.
Wow.
It's the 20% that have the loud voices and that you hear about. So
yeah. And I guess 20% is still a lot of people that are unhappy with their living arrangements.
It's not a good thing.
No,
and like I say, some of the additional regulation I think is good because it will get rid of quite a few of that 20% that aren't following the guidelines. So yeah,
fantastic. And I think the other thing that comes out from what you said is that it's still, you've thought about how that was impacting on your profit, and you've found other ways around it. But it is possible to run a business and be profitable, and it's okay to want that as well. You're not a charity. It's okay to want to be profitable, but also to be values led and to want to deliver a good experience and a good service as well. And I think a lot of people might worry about feeling like in business you have to be really cutthroat and you have to be all just focused on the profit, but actually there's success can be defined in a number of ways, and obviously finance is part of it, but actually that fulfillment that we get, and it's amazing, isn't it, how we can feel so good about what we do and helping people. Yeah, brilliant. So, thanks so much, Avril. I've really enjoyed chatting to you. And yeah, if anyone wants to get in touch, we'll share your links. And yeah, I've enjoyed everything you've been sharing in the group as well. But this will go out to my wider audience, and you can share this as well. So thanks so much, and I'll see you very soon. And thanks everyone for watching. If you've got any questions for Avril, post them in the comments on wherever you're seeing this as well, and we'll make sure we get back to you. Thanks so much. Bye bye.